Welcome to the Turing test. Today we're diving deep into that fiery debate over AI versus artists. Can machines be creative partners, or are they, stealing the spotlight?
Oh, absolutely. This whole discussion really shakes up how we think about art and creativity.
Right. So, let's start with the headline. An appeals court ruled back in March 2025 that AI-generated images, lacking human hands in creation, aren't eligible for copyright protection.
Yeah,
That's a game changer.
it is indeed. The ruling ties directly into the US Copyright Office's earlier report, insisting that originality demands human authorship.
Exactly. And it opens up a crazy space where, if no one can actually own these AI outputs, then anyone can remix or replicate them without fear. It's almost like handing out unlimited prints at a gallery.
But wait, doesn't that, potentially harm artists who spent years perfecting their craft? I mean, on one side you have this appeal for open remix culture, and on the other, it can flood the market with near-identical pieces.
Sure does. It's like, imagine a digital Wild West, where platforms profit big, while individual artists might see their earnings drowned in an ocean of copy-paste outputs.
Exactly.
Artists are split. Some celebrate it as freedom, others see it as a devaluation of craftsmanship.
And that tension really spills over into another big question. Who actually gets paid when an AI consumes and transforms, say, billions of pieces of art or music?
Right on. Think of generative models as these, mixtape junkies hungrily ingesting songs, photos, and brushstrokes, then spitting out something they call original.
Yeah,
And did you catch that point from June 2025? Universal, Warner, and Sony want a cut each time an algorithm crafts a tune that sounds, well, a bit like a pop hit, or a verse reminiscent of Kendrick Lamar.
that's huge. Micropayments and licensing could totally redefine the revenue streams for creative works. But hold on, how do indie artists feel about this?
Some, love the notion of sharing and remixing on steroids, while others fear that giant labels will, hog the profits while niche creators get left behind. It's a bit like splitting a pie, where the bigger players always get the larger slice.
And here's where it gets even spicier. Is AI itself a creative collaborator, or is it straight up a competitor?
Oh man. Think back to 2022 when Jason Allen's Mid-Journey piece, Théâtre d'Opéra Spatial, stole the spotlight at a state fair. People couldn't believe a machine could win a digital art contest.
Yeah, I remember.
And then fast forward to today, tools like Adobe's Firefly let you sketch a rough dragon, and it fills in all the majestic scales.
It's like having a super powerful brush, right? But some artists argue it's a shortcut. A bit like, cheating the system rather than truly creating something from scratch.
Exactly. I mean, creative software has always advanced. Remember when layers in Photoshop were
Yep.
considered revolutionary? Yet now, no one says content-aware fill ruined photography. So the question is, does a faster process, one where a song can be drafted during a coffee break, make the art any less meaningful?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Speed versus soul. Also, is there any risk that this rapid production might lead to a kind of, creative monoculture?
Ooh, absolutely. That's a crucial point. Scroll through social feeds now, and you get hit with the same dreamy pastel astronaut aesthetic, almost everywhere. It's as if generative models are churning out a recycled vibe. And that repetition could, in a way, sap the unique emotional fingerprint of art.
Yet on the flip side, breakthroughs like generative video demos that transform a painter's style into a moving scene suggest a kind of new renaissance. Is it maybe too early to predict?
Let's be honest, it's a tension between sheer creativity and mass replication. One could say it's like using a new brush that's either going to breathe fresh life into a canvas, or it might just spit out cookie-cutter pieces that flood the market.
Right.
And well, opinions abound.
Now, what about the rules? I mean, emerging regulations like Europe's AI Act are trying to set some boundaries, right?
Yes, exactly. Europe's AI Act kicks in August 2025, complete with a code of practice for general-purpose models. It demands clear transparency on training data and even opt-out mechanisms for creators.
Yeah, that's
But
interesting.
ironically, even The Guardian pointed out that loopholes might let models still ingest protected works without consent.
And across the ocean, the US Copyright Office is weighing in on whether just a little human input, like a prompt, deserves partial ownership. It's a bit like juggling chainsaws in dim light.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance, protecting creators without putting a stranglehold on innovation. Some see the impending regulation as a necessary structure, while startups worry it might be red tape stifling progress.
Yep. Let me throw in a friendly challenge here. Isn't it a bit short-sighted to think regulation alone can solve the underlying value distribution? I mean, isn't the creative landscape just naturally evolving?
Good point. I mean, regulation is just one tool in the toolkit. It might, shape the output, like whether AI art becomes an open garden or a gated studio. But at its heart, art evolves. Every tech leap, from the camera to digital editing, had similar growing pains.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings us nicely to the final big question. Are we heading for a creative monoculture or a whole new renaissance?
Precisely. Look. There's this tug of war between the risk of derivative cliché, like all those dreamy pastel astronaut images, and the promise of groundbreaking creativity. Generative video demos, AI-assisted choreography. These are like glimpses of a future where machines and humans co-create in ways we've never seen before.
So it's really a call to action for creators. Rather than outsource all imagination to algorithms, artists might wield these tools to push storytelling and emotion even further.
Exactly. Think of it like this. AI is just the next brush. The revolution isn't in the tool, it's in how you use it, with true intent and human spirit.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And that debate, then, becomes a question we all have to ask ourselves. Are we flattening originality with convenience, or are we opening up endless possibilities?
Right. And for our listeners, it's a bit of a scoreboard. Copyright remains human-centric for now. Training data is still a hot topic with new licensing deals on the horizon. Tools are both a blessing and a curse, and regulation is arriving, but it might, either liberate or lock down creativity.
It's a fascinating, almost explosive mix of art, law, and technology, a true reflection of our times.
Absolutely. And, if I may toss in a quick analogy, it's like an epic remix, where the original melody remains, but the beat keeps changing, sometimes in ways that surprise you, and sometimes in ways that, well, feel overly repetitive.
Right. I love that analogy. It really captures the precarious balance we're witnessing. Can we then say that each new innovation is setting the stage for a dialogue between that which is human and that which is artificial?
Exactly. And you know, it's that very dialogue, that debate, which might ultimately lead us into what could be a brand new renaissance, a celebration of human ingenuity shaped by AI's capabilities.
True. But still, I have to ask, isn't there a risk here that we may lose some of the raw, unpredictable magic that comes from a completely human touch as we lean too much into algorithmic perfection?
That's a fair critique. There's a kind of inherent warmth in unpredictable human creativity that no model can yet perfectly emulate. And you know, if we over-rely on AI, art might become too calculated, almost sanitized.
Yeah, exactly. So perhaps the real challenge for us is to find that sweet spot where technology serves as an enhancer rather than a replacer of genuine human artistry.
Absolutely. It's all about balance. The future isn't necessarily bleak. It might be just as creative, or even more so, if we learn to harness these tools with wisdom.
To wrap it up, we've seen copyright debates, discussions on who gets paid for training data, the complex dance between collaboration and competition, and the push-pull of regulation, all culminating in that big question. Does AI herald a new creative dawn, or just amplify the noise?
Perfectly put. It's a dynamic, unfolding narrative. And as this debate continues, our role is to really think critically about how we embrace these changes without losing the heart and soul of what makes art so, well, deeply human.
Listeners, we'd love to hear your take. Are these digital tools the catalysts for a creative evolution or a threat to originality?
Keep those thoughts flowing, leave a comment, share your perspectives, and let's keep the conversation alive.
Absolutely. Your insights fuel the discussion. Thanks for joining this deep dive into the crossroads of art, AI, and regulation.
Until next time, keep challenging the brushstrokes of the future with both passion and curiosity.